Hey guys, Pickle700 here, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you the electrical wiring installation in this new room I have added. So this room is 5 feet wide by 64 inches, almost a perfect square. It's got a quite small door on it at 6.5 feet tall by 2 foot wide, which is pretty small, but it gives me more room to store stuff in. So if you're familiar with the shed, this is where it's located on this back wall, and it's a pretty small room but takes up a decent portion of the shed. So I framed this over the last couple days. I've done all the framing with 2x4s and stuff, but I thought I'd show you the electrical installation today. Normally I don't show me doing many electrical projects like this where it's a full-on installation, because normally I'm either not at my house or rushed from time in a crappy situation like an attic or crawl space, but this is the perfect situation for me to show you. So it's got a loft in it at about 6.5 feet tall, where I have, as you can see, a little entrance framed in there. And this gives me a good opportunity to add lots of different things like new fire alarm devices and electrical. So the first thing we're going to do is mount our electrical boxes. So this right here is called a single gang box. This is what I'll be putting the receptacles and switches in, and possibly another pull station if I decide to. Keep in mind, for those of you watching this from a different country, electrical stuff might look a lot different and codes may differ, so don't follow my instructions. This is a single gang box, and I am in Canada, so we don't actually have to ground our switches. We still do ground on our receptacles, but on our switches we don't have to ground them because it's grounded through through this screw, which is grounded at the back of the box. So the first box will be located right there on that stud, the side closest to me in relation to where I am. The fire alarm control panel is right behind me, as well as the electrical panel. So this will be facing outside, so you can plug items into it from the outside. Now I'm on the other side looking at the back side of the wall. So I'm going to take my tape measure and mark the box height. Now there is no standard for electrical outlets. Typically you put the top of the box around 16 inches, but there are no specific codes saying how high you have to. So the bottom of that normally around 12, because the box is 4 inches high. So that's how I'm going to put them in here. On the rest of the walls in here, they are actually around 3 feet or 36 inches for countertop height. But for this receptacle, I want it at a pretty standard 16 inches. So here's their box. They have these little tabs that are meant for half-inch drywall or plywood in this case. There's also a mark at 5/8 and 1 inch and 1/8. So I'll just put it right at that line, which will put it snug up against the wall. Put it at our 16 inches right into the wall. My second box will be on the same stud on the other side down there. Now one last receptacle right here. Next is my light switch. This is where the door closes, so I'm going to put it on the handle side of the door. And right about here is 48 inches. You normally put them at around 48. I'm forced to go a little bit lower or a little bit higher, so I'm going to choose to go higher, since that's just my preference. So it's going to be just over top of this 2x4. So now I just have 2 more boxes to go up top. One will be for light, one will be for a heat or smoke detector, and I have one more box which I haven't yet decided where I'm going to locate it for a fire alarm strobe. There are my 2 octagon boxes, or light boxes, anything that is basically meant to go on a ceiling. So this one is centered, which is for the light, because that's the more obvious item, and this one is for the heat detector or smoke detector. This is my next box. This is a double gang box. 4x4 or double gang will basically work for any larger fire alarm device, any horn strobe you can really put on any box, but ideally you should have a bigger box like this. So I think right here would be a good place for that. They're supposed to be 6 inches off the ceiling, I believe. So I'm going to mark it like 7 inches just to be safe because the device is actually larger than the box. So here are my double gang boxes now mounted. So now we got to actually run the wire to get power to all these boxes. And to do that, I'm going to get power from this switch here. But if we look closely at this receptacle, you notice that there's a T-slot where the neutral has this one side going out. And that means this receptacle is on a 20 amp circuit, and this receptacle itself can take 20 amp items. Usually I'd use this stuff. This is 14.2 Lumex, which has 2 conductors, current carrying conductors. One is white, one is black. The white's neutral, black is used for hot, and then there's a 14 gauge ground in it. This is 14 gauge, which is for 15 amps, but as I said, that's a 20 amp circuit, so I have to use the bigger stuff. This is, as you can see, 12.2, still Lumex. It's just got 12 gauge white and black, and still a ground, but the ground in this is still 14 gauge. They upped the size of the current carrying conductors were upped to 12 gauge, but the ground still stays 14 gauge. So this is what I will be running, because this can handle the 20 amps that we need. Okay, so I'm going to start our wiring. So I'm going to give you guys a time lapse now of the wiring process. I'll come back to you once I start doing terminations and splices and stuff like that. So here's a time lapse. Okay, all of our wiring is done. So, well, the wire's pulled, but nothing's on yet, obviously. So I'll start off where this is gonna get changed next. I'll show you that pretty soon. So I'll just follow our 12.2, going up, and through here, down right here, and always leave yourself loops like this, or as much as you can. It's just better if you ever have to move the box or pull extra wire or make any changes. Let's say this accidentally got cut or something happened to it. I could always push down enough length to make up another termination. So we have both 2 of them right there. The other one comes back up along with that one. Up, 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 up. Over, across, through here, through here, through here. Then it comes down into this box where we have our always power. Then we have this other one going down to this receptacle, or what will be a receptacle, up and around to the other exterior receptacle or on the outside of this room. So back at this box, our other wire goes up, across, and into our light box. So a couple hours later again, and as you can see, I have this wall for the most part done. And if we go over there, that's a receptacle that I'm going to do in a couple seconds. As you can see, there it is. This wall's up, and this is only walls I have to put up. Garage door's trying to close on me. Those are the only walls I have to put up to do the exterior receptacles. that receptacle is done, I also, let's just step over everything. I also put in this one right here, and I did put the cover plate on this one. I have these nice metal cover plates. They look good against the white, in my opinion. Didn't put the cover plates on that one or that one, just being that I still have to paint these walls, and they'll just have to come back down anyways. Next, I'm going to work on this switch box right here. So here is the light switch box right here. So we have 3 different 12-2s in here. One of these is power, one of these is going up to the light fixture, and one of them is going down to the other receptacle. So first things first, I can strip all of these. So now this one is our power coming from the source side or the line side. And then this one is our light fixture. So we're only going to be dealing with the neutrals and the grounds of it right now, not the hot. I know that was a long time lapse, guys, but I finally have this all done. So this is a pretty nice switch. This is a Leviton 20 amp spec grade, which I believe is the best grade of switch. So I did put in a 20 amp switch because this is a 20 amp circuit. But the switch, if any of you guys know, 20 amp switches are a lot firmer than 15s, and they just feel higher quality because they are. So this is all done. That receptacle is in. I know I have a toggle style switch with a Decor style receptacle, which may seem kind of funny, but I like Decor receptacles better than the regular duplex ones, but I like toggle style switches better than I like Decor switches. That's just my opinion, so I don't know. Everyone's different. If any of you notice, yes, I just realized I put this in upside down, so I'm going to fix that. So now I'm going to put the light in. This is the light fixture I chose. The reason I chose it is because it's LED, which is nice. It's 1200 lumens, which is pretty bright, and it's color adjustable from 2700K, which is horribly orange, 3000K, which is horribly orange, 5000, kind of too orange, 4000, which is okay, and 5000, that's okay. And it's only $19 Canadian, which is a very good price, I think. It's not the most beautiful light fixture. You can get them at Home Depot, though, for, like I said, only about $19 Canadian, which is very cheap. Considering it's a pretty bright LED light, I've installed it. I think this is my fifth one of these to install. I don't know. I've installed quite a bit of them, though. They're very simple to install. This thing just twists off the top if I can do it one-handed. And then all your lights are inside of here. Can't see them, but they are in there. And there's your color adjust. Let's put this up to 5000K. And then this just wires on to the wires on, and then you just put some 832s through those holes and it's done. Here's the light installed now. So now, to get power to all of this, I have some work to do right there. And to do that, I'm going to shut the circuit off. So, if I step over the huge mess in here, should be this one. Nope, that's not it. That's it. Now, if this wasn't a commercial setting, I would lock that circuit out with that breaker lockout. As you can see, my light went off. And double check with a Voltic. No power. So I'll come back after all the work is done over here. Okay, this is all done over here. So what I've done is this receptacle was flush in the wall, and then I put an 1110 extension box, which is just like a normal 1110. The back side's just open to go over another 1110. So that just bumped this out, so then I could get my Lumex, my 12.2 coming out of the top and still keep a receptacle right there. So the electrical side of this new room is pretty much all done. Just I still have to do the fire alarm stuff there and there. But let's give it all a test by turning on the breaker. This is the part where there will be an explosion. So now whenever you're turning on a breaker that you're not 100% sure everything is safe, look away. Use your least dominant hand in case you lose one of them. So, looking away. There we go. That's how it should go. Now let's test the light. Beautiful. We got a light in here. So now I'll show you on this light how we can... Which way does this come off here? I need two hands for this. There we go. So I'll show you how you can adjust the color temperature. There's 5000K. This is the color I like. There's 4000K, which is the same as those lights out there. 3500, getting pretty yellow. 3000, quite yellow. And then 2700. But 4000 and 5000 are good to me. I think I'm going to put on 4000 just to match the rest of the lights in here. Next, I'm going to test all the receptacles to make sure they're all safe to plug stuff into and there's no way that anything could get blown. So we'll check this first one first. Correct wiring. Correct wiring. Most likely thing with anything to find is either an open ground or a reverse polarity. Never know, sometimes there's an open neutral though too. Correct wiring. Last but not least, correct wiring. Anyways, guys, the electrical side of this is pretty much done, other than putting a couple cover plates on. This thing still has some work to go with putting up the loft in the ceiling and putting up the rest of the plywood. I think I'm also going to make some fire alarm changes. Maybe I'm going to take that strobe down and put it inside of here so there's strobe coverage in there. Being that this one, even on 15 candelas, can handle the square footage of this whole room. So there really doesn't need to be two strobes, so I'll put that one in there. And the low frequency sounder might stay there, or it might go on one of these walls on the outside, but it probably will just stay there. Maybe I'll move a pole station, I'm not sure. Anyways guys, that's about it for this video. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.